Electricast.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
Missing the point. NBA. Wow, I've loved these playoffs so far, Mike. You and I'm here with Mike Marcangelo. I am DK Sizzle. You and I have not really gotten a chance to talk about the basketball playoffs since we've been sort of balls deep in this playoff run into the second round. All the narratives have been laid out. We're halfway through several series. All the series are interesting in different ways. Yep. But let's take it from, this is how I like to think about it. We'll go farthest away from the Celtics and bring it home to the Celtics. The Celtics will be the last thing we talk about. But let's start over in the Western Conference, because I don't know how closely you've been following the epic battles, the Mount Olympus level battles of the Western Conference, or as I like to call it, the conference containing whatever team is going to win the championship. But we'll get there. I just mean overall, like when I watch the Western Conference games and then I watch the Eastern Conference games, the quality of basketball in the Western Conference is much higher. Does that mean that the Celtics can't, rise to a level, and because they are a little bit like, they do kind of play down to their level a lot? It's one of the things we hate the most about this team, maybe, but like everybody in the Western Conference is like pretty good and all does things that make me really nervous. Yep. to see the Celtics go up against them. So let's start with my favorite series so far, which is the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. I don't know if you know this, but I am actually no longer a Celtics fan. I'm now just an Anthony Edwards fan. How much do you remember when Tiger Woods hit the scene?
I mean, I was 10, so I think.
Were you into golf yet?
No, but I think seeing him, it was like 97 Masters or the 98, one of those. I was just like, holy shit, because it was just coming off Jordan's final run in basketball, and you were like, right. There's just like, that is the greatest athlete, and you and I have had this debate before about golfers being athletes, but like the transition from that perennial championship winner in one sport, then right into Tiger, who just didn't lose for like 10 years. Mm-hmm. That's why I look back on that so fondly, and I feel like where you're going with this is, one of MJ's bastard kids is just going to take over the league again, and Anthony Edwards.
It's just that I don't know. I mean, like, it's impossible to make this prediction based on just what we've seen basketball wise, because if you just take it basketball wise, you can sort of say he's really young. The signs are there. It's incredibly promising. The Nuggets might prove to be too much for what he has right now, but like the Celtics proved to be too much for MJ at a certain point, and then like he got the correct sporting cast and hit the right age and became who he is. It could go either way, and it's a small hole to hit. It's no bigger than a womp rat. But I did used to bullseye womp rats in my T16 back home, so it's possible that he could get to that level. The thing that is sticking out to me is the outside of basketball impact on the zeitgeist. I feel like the thing that happened when Tiger hit the scene, which I don't remember when Jordan emerged. He was just always there. He was in the culture.
Yeah.
But I remember Tiger happening to society. Like everybody all of a sudden knew who Tiger Woods was. There was conversations around every water cooler in America, nay, the world, about this crazy, phenomenal, clearly going to be the GOAT golfer. And it sort of was, it mattered too much that it was like bigger than golf. It was Tiger versus the field, it was bigger than golf. And I just think he's got all those qualities. He's just got the qualities to just sort of enter all of our brains and not leave until he's good and ready. And in addition to that, he's a fucking baller. Like, I just love watching him play basketball. Beautiful, beautiful game. Would you like it if something like that happened? Would that be good, even though he's not a Celtic? Would you take the atheist approach, if a sports atheist approach, where you say like, this is just good for the culture, baby?
Yeah, I think I would, especially because it's a smaller market, right? So if you see the emergence of what could be the next great player in the league, and it's from not a top 10 market, and they just start dominating and becoming perennials, yeah, I think that's good for basketball, because you're always going to have fans in New York, LA, Boston, like all the big markets. But if you can start saying like you too, you in a small town can have like the next guy, I think interest just continues to go up. I also think that he is. I think you and Ray talked about this last week, and I really I loved it so much that I wanted to kind of rehash it. Is that he is the perfect complement to Cat, right? Because I think we've always just said that, we would want Cat here because someone like Jaylen Brown would get him going. Anthony Edwards is Jaylen Brown on fucking steroids.
I know.
Like and you can see it. Like that he's made Cat better. He's made this entire culture for the Timberwolves better. Like they went on some hard times after KG left, right? And to think that he's just, we said this about Tatum all those years ago, but he's fucking 22,
Yeah.
and he's already just, dropping his sack on the entire league.
I
think
mean,
it
he's
could
better
be-
than any 22-year-old I've ever seen.
absolutely.
I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. I think that the obvious comparables are Kobe, LeBron, Kevin Garnett. The high school guys. I don't know. He's got
but
that.
he has a chance. He has a chance to be better than LeBron, because listen, this is not. I don't mean to be disrespectful. LeBron's going to be. He's one of the greatest basketball players in the history of the game. LeBron wasn't the best player, or wasn't the most dominant force in his era. Anthony Edwards could be.
You think Steph Curry was the most dominant force in his era, in LeBron's era?
I mean, I think every championship team that LeBron was on, they went against the other dynasties of his era, like the Spurs and the fucking Warriors. And they all had, lightning in the bottle. LeBron was never on the most dominant team of his era.
Right. I think from a basketball sense, I really think the Nuggets deserve a little bit of piece of a conversation too, after coming back in that series. Like, both teams have won their away games essentially. And I do think like we collectively as basketball, like talking heads, owe the Nuggets a little bit of an apology, where it was like, okay, everybody did shit on them a little bit, but they definitely do have that dog in them. Jamal Murray kind of miraculously coming back from that leg injury and playing lights out for 2 games. Like the guy literally couldn't fucking miss. I don't know what part of like deep Mexico or South Africa or whatever he went to, and what like piece of like, what village sacrificed their best athletes ACL in exchange for an extended time of food and plenty. But someone did, and Jamal Murray's back with a vengeance. Joker is obviously inhuman, but they did make him look human in those first 2 games. And I think that it's a very young team, and there is still the Karl Anthony Towns factor. And I mean, Rudy Gobert in game 4, that was one of the most diabolically bad performances I've ever seen. And this is coming off the narrative conversation of Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year. How many times has he won it? He's so good. He's this, he's that. That guy looked like somebody like just gave him the Frankenstein treatment with an ice pick before he walked out onto the court. He looked so bad and fumbly and stupid. His offensive production was terrible. His decision-making was awful. He fouled at all the wrong times. And he basically gave them whatever that 8-point cushion was that they kept for the Nuggets kept for the entire game. Boneheaded decisions at halftime, like very much like young team syndrome, just like shit. Like this is getting away from us. Like we're not, and still very talented. And Anthony Edwards still went and got his. Like he was the best looking guy on the court. Karl Anthony Towns looked abysmal. He was taking all the wrong shots. He was shooting from too deep. He had no presence in the paint. The only reason that they didn't lose by 50 was the fact that they had Anthony Edwards. Like that team would have gotten absolutely moshed if Anthony Edwards wasn't there. So I was still kind of like, my boy is it's not his fault that this is going
Right.
down.
Yeah, if Ant puts up 25 points instead of his 44, that's a blowout. I mean, they lose by 30.
Yeah.
I mean, the Nuggets had 6 points off of Rudy Gobert's 5 turnovers.
Oh,
Just
God.
him alone.
Oh,
I mean,
my God.
that's fucking awful.
Could have been worse. Could have been worse.
But like my takeaway from this series so far is you had the defending champs on the ropes,
I know.
and you fucking let them back in. Now, like this, if the
Now you got to
Nuggets
go to
win this
Denver.
series, right? If the Nuggets win this series, like, let's just say if they win in 6 and they just go 4 in a row, I would make the argument that the Nuggets, like, they rope-a-doped the Timberwolves, right? Like they stood there, they took their fucking best shot, and then Jokic was like, I'm still going to put up 28, 14, and 10 every game, and you're not going to be able to keep up with me.
Missing. They just were missing though. Like, I don't know if Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon are gonna have this same. Like Jamal Murray maybe, but Aaron Gordon had fucking lights out game, dude. My guy did not miss, and he's just not that dude. He's just not that dude. He's
You
not
can go
doing.
back. You can go back to the finals, any one of the finals shows that you did last year, and you'll hear yourself say the exact same thing about Aaron fucking Gordon.
He's still not that dude. I don't give a fuck.
Right. But he just does it in the postseason every once in a while.
I guess so. We'll have to have almost that same conversation about Drew Holiday in a little bit. But my question to you about this series as an overall, because I think you're about to allude to this, is I find it very difficult to predict where this series is going to go because it's been so kind of waxy waney already. Like the smart money would be on, okay, now the T-Wolves are going to go back to Denver, have to play at altitude again. They're not going to be able to fight through it the way they were able to fight through it for the first two because the momentum's going against them. Denver are champions for a reason. They're going to smell blood in the water. They're going to step on their neck. But every single game and every single couplet of games has completely gone the opposite direction of the common sense narrative going into it. So that makes me want to zag, and I'm very nervous to say definitively what I think is going to happen. Like that situation I just described is probably most likely, but like, are we sure Anthony Edwards isn't secretly making all of the locker room of the Timberwolves psychopaths like him? And he's just going to go out there and like, this is his last dance moment. Like I took that shit personally with a fucking cognac in a ludicrous house with rooms he's probably never been in. Like, are we seeing that in real time? I don't know. I mean, I think the MJ comparisons from like complete overreactors like me are a little probably unfair to him, but where do you think the series is going to go? And I mean, what does that do to Anthony Edwards? I can see if he's able to overcome this.
If we believe that that patterns they actually exist in the NBA, then I think that Game 5 is going to be a blowout because it has been close game, blowout, close game, blowout, close game. So now we have to have that 20-point win. So gun to head, I think this is going to go. I think it's going to go 7. I still think that the Nuggets, just by a war of attrition,
that is how they play though. The war of attrition is how they play, and that's why they're the team I want to play the least in the finals because the Celtics cannot withstand their brains will explode in real time. Joe Mazzulla may take his own life on the court. Like I can't. Like their brains they're so incredibly fragile as mentally as a team, and like until we start saying that out loud, like they just are. And especially watching what the T-Wolves did in the first 2 games against Denver, I was like, oh my fucking God, this is exactly how I want my team to play. They're just ferocious defensively, so they have an easier time of it offensively because the other team's just rattled. If it went 7, like you said, it is in strong contention to be my favorite series of basketball of all time that is in a final series.
Yeah,
and
that's a good one.
I really, if it goes 7, so much crazy shit's gonna happen before Game 7, and every game just feels like so much fun.
The thing that makes me believe that the Nuggets are going to win this game, this series, other than the fact that the defending champions and they have probably the best center of our lifetime, he will go down as probably a top 3 center of all time. It's that they responded to a 20.
It's still Shaq.
Loss.
Just for the record, I think it's still Shaq.
Yeah, for sure. But they responded to a 26-point loss by handing a 27-point fucking beatdown 2 nights later.
I know.
They just aren't phased. They're not phased at all, which is scary. Like, that is the scariest fucking part about this team.
I mean, championship DNA.
Yeah.
If it exists, like that's what it is. You know, just motherfuckers that don't freeze up on you in the pocket.
Yep.
You know, like they get calmer. They're ice cold, you know, and like the Nuggets do have ice in their veins. Like they just did exactly what they needed to do. Methodical, one step at a time, one brick at a time. Like they just lay the house around you. It's like the cask of the Amontillado, and they just like bury you one brick at a time until you're like, wait, are you burying me in here? And then it's too late.
Too late.
It's
Can't
too
get out.
late. You're done. You're buried alive. Quicksand. They're quicksand incarnate. I mean, I like the Nuggets too, is the thing. There's a lot of like animosity towards them, but like I really like how Joker plays basketball. And so it's just been a lot of fun to watch like two high level teams go at each other, and definitely the highest level of any series that we're about to talk about. I think whoever comes out of that series is winning the championship. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I mean, I'm rooting for the Celtics, but it would be dumb to say that they're gonna do it.
I
agree?
want podcast DK to talk to Discord DK and just figure out like an in between, because when the Celtics are going, everything's going well, you're just like, this team's fucking cooking. They were saving it for the playoffs. But I think you're just overcompensating, because you know that if that well-oiled machine runs into the Nuggets in the finals, I guess we could beat them, but we probably won't.
Discord is a place where I dump all the most extreme emotions I'm feeling about my sports team. And so I can get to this place where we can podcast and I can sound like a rational adult. Right. And I think this is the real me telling you. I have strong concerns about the Celtics facing anybody in the Western Conference. And I also am a little concerned about the quality of the championship if we do win it, because
I don't care about that. Fuck that.
getting
Rings are rings.
Sure, but like I'll present it to you in a more Mike way then. The embarrassment of fucking up against any of the remaining Eastern Conference teams is going to be nigh on impossible to live down. It would be an all-time fuck up. Everyone knows it. Everyone's primed for it. The Celtics are looking down the barrel of facing and defeating a Jimmy Butler-less Miami Heat, a sometimes Donovan Mitchell-less Cleveland Cavaliers, a full-blown funeral home of New York Knicks and Derek Brunson on one leg. And then, I mean, I don't know. By that rate, we're facing the fucking Mavericks in the final. And Luka will full on have had his leg amputated by that point. And he'll be on one of those robot legs they give to like sprinters. And we'll find a way to lose that game. Like, to be honest. And it'll be Kyrie Irving that like drives the fucking stake through our heart. We have an all-time easy walk right now. And if the Nuggets do make it to the finals, or if the T-Wolves do make it to the finals, they're going to be beat up. Whoever makes it out of the Western Conference is going to be absolutely beat up. We can walk to the Western Conference final, or to the NBA Finals. Porzingis just like, oh, I'm good. I needed that rest. My calf feels great, and we could win it. I don't know, but we're not at the Celtics yet. Stop jumping ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, speaking of the Mavericks, what did you make of the Luka Kyrie tandem, which I did say had the potential to be one of the most dominant backcourts in the league when the trade happened, and everyone was like, no, dude, Kyrie's gonna fuck it up over there, which fair enough. Like the Kyrie heel turn, or I guess about
Face
face.
turn?
Yeah. Into like quietly getting the job done, Kyrie is welcome in NBA terms, I would say. And he's also honestly been playing some of his best playoff basketball. He's been really, really fun to watch. He's kind of always fun to watch, to be honest, which is why I sort of stuck with him for longer than maybe I should have. And like Luka's honestly just bringing the pageantry. Like he's so dramatic. Like every time he hits he's so European. Every time he hits the deck, it's like, it's like he's been shot. But I kind of like it. It's really adding like a sort of a Phantom of the Opera, sort of like an operatic large score situation to the NBA Western Conference playoffs. I've been enjoying it. He's really hyping up the vaudevillian costume theater of it all, and because it's not something that happens all the time, it's kind of funny when it happens when Luka does it. So what have you made of those guys? And I've been very impressed with SGA. He's sort of still at times looked like the most probable player to win a series on the floor to me. But it's a fun battle of a bunch of really good guards, which is like those are just fun games to watch. So what have you made of that series so far? And which backcourt do you think is going to win it for their team?
I mean, it should be Luka and Kyrie, just for the mere point of just the talent that both of
SGA
those.
might be a top 5 guy.
Okay, but is the number
Probably
2 on OKC better than Kyrie or Luka?
No, but
So that's it.
well, I mean, I don't know. You can make it. Chet's good. Like, he's good. I just think their 1 through 5 is better. And I think they have the best player, potentially. So,
Yeah.
especially with Luka.
I don't know, man. I think on his still he's a little bit older, but if at his best, I still think Kyrie is a top 10 player in the league. And at his absolute best, I think that Luka is a top 10, top 5 player in the league. One of the things that you and Ray have kind of been chirping about, and like in my ear about all year, or ever since I would say the trade deadline of this year, is just look at the Mavs defense. They're actually playing defense. They're actually playing better defense. And you see it. Like, Kyrie was not known for his defensive prowess when he was here in Boston, obviously. Neither was Luka. But I think the biggest transition has been once Kyrie has decided that he does not want to be the focal point and he wants to put everyone else on the starting 5 over, that's when that team's the most dangerous. Like, when he is the facilitator, they're doing great. Now, I know that Luka primarily is the ball handler, right? And everything goes through him. But if you see off the ball, Kyrie moving around, directing everybody, that's when he's at his best. And he can still fucking kill you with a teardrop, like a mid-range shot. And then his acceleration to the hoop is so deceptively quick that you don't even know where he's going to go. And then he's already laid the ball up into the basket.
He's doing a really good. I agree. He's doing a really good. Like, I am happy to be the second guy at times. Like, I'm happy to just like score whenever you need me to score because I'm pretty automatic from like these 3 spots, and I can get to these 3 spots pretty much whenever I want. Because of his size, like, and I noticed this when he was a Celtic too. Like, because of his size, there's like ways to slow him down, right? Like, there's just he still might kill you. He could still hit a game winner on you. He's really good off the ball. I would give my left testicle if Jayson Tatum would ever take a fucking off the ball spot up.
No, can't do that.
Sorry, later. But I think like Kyrie in this sort of iteration of his game, like I think he gets to a spot really, really well and goes up really confidently. And I think that's just like a thing that they've been able to sort of rely on when like Luka is not doing crazy shit and he hasn't had like the best playoffs ever, but he's doing a lot. But I think, to me, having like a possible top 5 guy, possible top 10 guy isn't as good as possibly having the best guy. And I think SGA, most people wanted him to like. I think it got all fucked up because I think Embiid won MVP last year, and it should have been Joker. And then I think you should have given MVP to SGA this year. I just think he was the best player, and also like amount of minutes played and like that stuff should factor in. And then Joker got it. It's like it's a makeup call from last year. Why did you just not fuck up? Like that's how bad that MVP vote was last year. It's like fucking up this year's. And I think SGA was the MVP. And there was a moment with about 5 minutes left in yesterday's game where it's like they have to tie this fucking series up. Like they don't want to go down 3-1. Where he just like. He's just such a quiet assassin. He doesn't ever go like, it's not that loud. Like, it's not bang, it's just, he just goes about his business and you look and you're like, how does he have 37 points? And it's like, he's like not actively talked about enough. But like yesterday he was like, all right. And he just started hitting every single shot. Like he just became automatic. And then the game was just too far away. And Luka and Kyrie were on the court. And I witnessed that moment and I was like, you know what? That's Oklahoma City are coming out of this series for sure. And that they might be low-key more dangerous than we thought. And they're about to face whoever comes out of the other series. And whoever comes out of the other series is going to be traumatized. Because it's going to be one of the craziest series ever.
if it's Denver, Denver does all the right things to slow down a
Zombie
team like
Denver.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean the the best stat line about SGA's performance the other night or last night was the fact that he took 27 shots,
The efficiency. Yeah.
only 1 3.
Yeah.
He
The
just made
efficiency.
he was like, oh, I'm not gonna fucking just throw up trays. It
Yeah.
just he went 52% from the fucking field. Are you out of your mind? And not for nothing, 27 shots. Everyone knows that he's gonna get the ball and he's gonna try and score, and they just couldn't stop him.
Still nothing they can do about it. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
Um, he gives me like White Walker vibes. But like in the first episode, when like the White Walker is like emerges from the far, away wasteland, far away
yeah.
from you and your safe, comfortable little home where like Derek White can hit a lot of threes in the regular season. And I'm really hoping that it actually turns out like the White Walkers at the end, where like they're actually super lame and they get killed by like 11-year-old girls or whatever. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen the shittiest season of Game of Thrones. What a fucking disaster. Oh my God, you
It was
guys.
awful. It was
What were you
awful.
guys thinking? Wouldn't you have just waited? Wouldn't you have just been like, I'll do it when George does the book?
Yeah, maybe don't turn the most lovable character that you spent 6 years building
Tyrion?
heel in one fucking episode.
Was it Tyrion you're talking about, or the Khaleesi?
Khaleesi.
Yeah, because Tyrion just got shitty. Like he just lost every kind of like discernible character trait, right? And then the Khaleesi, yeah, I mean, you gotta tease that out, babe.
Right.
Like you gotta give us some more story beats, like before she goes fucking cuckoo bananas, bro. Like I can't. Like she was just woke up crazy one day. Men writing women. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yep.
Moving on back to the basketball. We should do a House of the Dragon watch along pod. Do you watch that?
I do.
Dragon Tales, I call it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited every Sunday the Dragon Tales is on.
The younger version of the Targaryen girl was way more enjoyable than the older version, but I digress.
Yeah, but what about when she does interviews? She's great. They're great, I think. It's they.
Yep.
But Spagliato. I mean, come on. It was worth it just for that. With Prosecco in it. Come on. That was so good. They're
True.
trying to redo it now. I'm seeing those two interview each other on like the HBO TikToks, and they're trying to get that back. But they're never going to capture lightning in a bottle twice.
No.
It's not going to meme itself. You can't force a meme. That's how the internet works. I digress. Badly. Yeah. Anyway, I hope that he's not the White Walker that I think he is, because he's there's a world where he's just like the impending death of our season and therefore our team, because little tease, big market tease for later. If the Celtics don't win this year, we probably have to blow the whole fucking thing up. So, and I mean the building, not the team.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Let's do the Knicks and the Pacers before we go into the Celtics. They're currently playing. It's 44-33, New York. What have you made of this series so far? I feel like if the fan base that can most closely relate to the Boston fan base right now, I would imagine, is the Pacers, because it's like they're all injured. Just win the fucking game. They're all injured. I would love to see Indiana in the next round. Obviously, that would be my choice. I think like Brunson is probably going to spell danger for us, because he seems to be able to spell danger for everybody. I have some thoughts about his size that I've already gone over on this show, but they're tied 2-2 right now. New York is looking like they're probably going to win this game. I mean, it's only the second quarter. You never know, but what the fuck, Indiana, right? I mean, what the fuck? What is up with them? Wouldn't you be so mad if you were a fucking Pacers fan right now? If you'd be yelling at all 6 of your wives.
Yeah, I mean, you're going up against an infirmary of a team, and their one star apparently just not a let's just leave talent out, has more fucking grit than you. Like he's just willing his entire team to be better than all 5 of your starters. You know what I mean?
Stud, dude. He's kind of a stud. I didn't want him to be good. Like I was sort of anti Brunson for a while. Like I think partially because he was a Knick. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's see. Yeah, let's see if the Knicks have like that guy that they think they have. Like I doubt it, but he might be that dude. He genuinely might be that dude. He's really small for our backcourt though. If the Celtics face him, I don't know. On paper, I mean, I know we never do it like this as a fucking Boston team, but on paper, we should be able to close down that whole Knicks backcourt. They're 1 through
Yeah, but
4. Their tallest guy is 6'5", 1 through
right.
4,
So
and they have a
what
7-footer that starts at 5.
what we'll do is we'll try and play. We'll try and beat them at their game
Right,
instead of making them play ours.
right. We might as well just come out in some Knicks jerseys. Be like,
I do. I mean, I do love Jalen Brunson and his brother Pat, like you said earlier. I mean, I think the whole Brunson family is just great. Just not going to talk now.
sorry, I was watching him shoot. Um, Tell me this, riddle me this. Who would you would obviously rather the Pacers in the next round, but you don't think that's gonna happen.
No, I'd rather the Knicks.
Really? Because they're all beat up? But, like,
I
we're gonna come on to talking about how it was tough for us to play. Your famous line is the Celtics losing against a team with an injured starter.
Yeah, but here's why I would rather play the Knicks is because I think that even though yes, it's on the court it would probably be easier because Jalen Brunson is their only thing that they go through, and he does seem to be pretty formidable. But I do love the thought of them having to beat another what we consider to be great coaching mind, right? So I think that it does add some swagger to the fact that even if Jimmy Butler didn't play, you still have to beat Spo, great, and now you're going to beat Tibbs, also great, and then it gets you in line. Okay, yeah, maybe they didn't have their best players, but great coaches are supposed to make their teams better, and you still beat them. So I like having that.
Okay. I think Tom Thibodeau is a good coach.
Yeah.
But if the game was 74 minutes long, he would play you 74 minutes. Like, there's a reason his whole
Yeah.
team is fucking injured right now, and it's because they all play far too many minutes.
Yeah,
Far too
Julius
many
Randle's feet just fell off.
Yeah,
in
like
fucking
made of
April.
eggshells. Like I think he trusts like maybe his accountant and maybe his wife and no one else on this earth. He trusts like the first 5 guys on his roster, and everyone else he thinks they're out to get him. He's pretty convinced, in fact. I don't know.
I really thought that
I
my
think
little
he's a great
speech.
coaching mind, but like I do think it would, but like that's not going to be the prevailing narrative. The narrative is going to be like they don't have any fucking players. They're all beat up. Some are coming back, sure, but like they're all fucking beat up, and we're just getting killed by them. And the narrative is going to be, I can't believe we lost game 2 at home again. I can't
Well,
believe
right.
we lost game 2 for the 3rd time in a row. It's the fact that. All right, let's just talk about the Celtics because
I'm in.
it's the dogs are itching to get released here. It's the fact that they can't solve problems. It's not the fact that there are problems. It's the fact that when there are problems, the problems never go away.
Right.
They never get addressed. It's like being married to an emotionally unavailable person that just like, you're like, hey, could you possibly change this minor behavior? That it would really help me out because when you do this really easy to fix thing, it fucking annoys me. And they go like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, actually. And that, I would imagine would make you want to commit murder. So I sometimes want to kill the Boston Celtics. And it doesn't mean I don't love them. Just because I'm mad, it doesn't mean I don't love them. But my issue, I'm just going to start with Tatum because my issue is Jayson Tatum. That's my issue with this team.
Tell him.
My issue is the trick or treat nature of his game. The fact that we're still in a place where doing 4 things that he's able to do really well mean he's having a good game, and then doing like 3 things that he thinks he's really good at, but in fact isn't, is what he does the other half of the time. Right? And
Yeah.
I watch Anthony Edwards and I go like, why can't you be more like that young man? Like that's sort of the sort of old relationship that me and Jayson Tatum are in right now because he's still doing a lot of the things that he's always done and they really fucking annoy me. Namely, and I'll start with this question to you. Namely, not showing up in the fucking 4th quarter, dude. Is there a quality of his that enrages you more than that? Do you think it's the whole
No.
second half or is it just the 4th quarter? And like, is it a decision-making issue? Is he not clutch? Like, what's the problem?
I think what pisses me off the most about this scenario is because of how much he shows up in the first. Like the game, like everything revolves around him. We are at his will in the first quarter almost every single game. You can literally take it to the bank that Tatum's going to put up between 13 to 18 points every first quarter. And then he will probably put together 10 points for the rest of the game. And the majority of his points, which I don't have a problem with, by the way, I think you should do it more, are when he's fouled going to the rim and he shoots phenomenal from the free throw line. So maybe do that more instead of your stupid fucking fadeaway jumpers that, sorry, like you shoot 23% on those. Stop taking them.
I don't think this is going to be a little bit of a hot take. I don't think that we need Jayson Tatum to score that much. I think if he just took what the game gave him from a scoring perspective and did this other thing that he can do, where he's very much the guy in control of the whole basketball game. He can just control the whole game. He really can. When he makes good decisions and gets to certain spots, when he goes and play makes from the post, when he play makes from the perimeter, when he gets to the corner and makes like a good long pass because he's got great vision because he's so tall and he can like pass really well inside. He rebounds like an absolute animal sometimes, and he has the frame and the athleticism to be one of the better front court rebounders of people in his like sort of dimensions. I'm not asking him to go fucking body Joel Embiid, but like he should be making moves in the area of the floor that he's in.
Yeah.
Defensively with his athleticism and his length. And I just like I like him better when he plays like that, to be honest. And I fully don't think he's that good of a 3-point shooter. He's like the 56th best 3-point shooter in the playoffs right now. Like, I'm not even joking. It's somewhere around there.
That was very specific, so I thought I figured it was true.
It's right around there. That step back, like pull-ups, three, like it looks cool when it goes in. This is the problem. It looks
that it goes
cool
in sometimes.
It goes in, but I don't think it actually has ever gone in one time. I think he's missed every single time he's ever taken it. That's how it feels when he shoots it.
Right. It's like the opposite of how you feel when Derek White jacks up a three. Like I said this to you last time.
He went fucking missing last game.
I know, but I think I said this to you in the Discord. I just believe in my heart that every time he shoots a three, it's going to go in.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just do.
Yeah. I mean, that feeling you're talking about was the absolute far and away best thing about the 08 Celtics. That was the best thing. And we were so spoiled because we had three guys that every time they shot the ball, you were 100% convinced it was going in. And if it was like Paul Pierce plus the fourth quarter, plus like a really like intense situation, you were like more confident that we were going to fucking make the shot. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they were a team of big moments.
Yep.
And I would rather be a team of big moments than a super talented team, because all you have to do is play well enough to get you to a moment. And then you just outclass the other team in that scenario. And this Celtics team is decidedly not like that. And it makes me very, very nervous because unless we're winning by 25, I'm very nervous about winning it all. You know?
Yeah.
And
that's the whole methodology or mindset here. When I say like they're front runners, you just know it. If they don't have a 35-point first quarter, or they're not leading by 18 somewhere in the third, it's a high probability that you're going to lose that game if you're a Celtics. I said this again. This is so weird to say about a team that went 64-18. There's no team that I trust more to blow a 20-point lead than the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, they won 64 games. I genuinely think that if they could play like they're dominating a regular season game all the time, they would win like every single game. I think they have enough talent. It's just the fact that they are a bunch of pussies. That's the part that really gets me. I mean, we just have to dig down into the idea of the fact that there's something really soft about the core of the team. And like, unless somebody goes in and like on the inside recognizes what the fuck that is and decides to like buck the narrative, buck the trend and take I need Jayson Tatum to be able to take over a basketball game at will in the fourth quarter. I know that there's not that many players that have been able to do that in the history of the NBA, but like that's pretty much how you win a championship now. So Paul Pierce could do it, and I'll tell you right now, if you think that Jayson Tatum is not more talented of a basketball player than Paul Pierce, then you aren't watching. Like he just is. Like he can do more things at a higher level. But I would 100% take Pierce in right now. Prime Pierce over Jayson Tatum
Yeah.
right now with this team. I'm taking Pierce 10 times out of 10. Like without
Yeah.
twice on Sundays, without hesitation, because he's clutch as fuck. He can do a lot of the same things that Tatum can do, and he's gonna lead. He's gonna lead. I know he's gonna lead.
I think the difference there, right, is just if I could sum it up, nice, plain and simple, is Paul Pierce crescendo to the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, he knew how to manage himself through a game.
Yeah,
Really, really
and
yeah.
Tatum he will put up 30 points. I'm not trying to shit on 30 points. I really am not. But I think 30 points means a little bit less when 16 of them are in the first quarter and everyone's firing on all cylinders. So your team put up 38 points in the first quarter.
But there's moments in that where he had to have been special, and you're watching moments of him being purely special, like a special basketball player. He has those moments, but it's like he can't access them at the right times. And I wanna keep believing that that is a couple of adjustments away from happening, and not just something you're innately born with and have to either be able to do or not you're not able to do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I need to think that he's almost, like, lined up the shot, and he's about to just, like, have that one game that makes us all go, because he hasn't shut us up, Mike. Like, he
I,
hasn't like, he'll have, like, a good game or whatever, and his last 2 performances have been good, but they're not like, "Yo, shut the fuck up," obviously now, because 'cause you're wrong. Now, if from this point forward, if you say it, you're wrong, or you try to make an observation about what could be going on or because we're not crazy, like, I'm not
yeah,
gonna get
100%.
gaslit. I'm not gonna get gaslit into the fucking idea that, like, me and a lot of people I know are just, like, making shit up about Jayson Tatum that, like, isn't right there in front of your fucking eyes to see. And I want him to be good. I don't want this to be the case. But you watch Anthony Edwards, you watch Joker, you watch SGA, you watch Kyrie. I mean, Luka, the guys that Brunson, the guys that everyone has a guy at this point, at this moment in time. Like everybody's got the front runner, leader, captain, the Leonidas of their team. And I'm just worried our guy is like more of a prince than a knight, you know?
I wholeheartedly agree with that assessment. And the one of the most aggravating parts of it too is if we just want to transition into also Jaylen Brown, is that Jaylen wants to be the guy.
I know. I kind of
He
just want him to
want
be at this
he
point. I kind of just want him to be at this point.
fucking
Just
wants
let
to
him off the
be.
leash, dude.
He
Fuck it.
tries so fucking hard, but he doesn't have the same talent level as Tatum. And Tatum, like you were alluding to, it actually flat out said, in crunch time or in big moments, he just doesn't want any part of having the ball. Like he defers. And
Well,
it's going to be hard to be the best player on your team when you defer in all crunch time scenarios.
and there's two different ways that he defers. There's a way that tell me if I'm wrong about this or this if I'm making shit up. Like there's a way that he defers where he's still involved in controlling the game. You don't see it usually in crunch time, like we're talking about, but there's a way that he's like not trying to be the primary scorer or like not have the whole like the ball have to run through him. There's times where I'm like, you're in control of the game. This is good. I would love if he would. Everything he has to do is off the dribble. He will not do something not off the dribble in a scoring sense. Like if he's gonna try to score, it has to be off the dribble because he's super fucking dominant and long off the dribble. I get it. It works. Like he does create space. But man, can you just move off the ball? And can you shoot when can you catch and shoot? Can you learn how to catch and shoot? Because it would be really fucking helpful. If the team in general, other than Derek White, could learn how to catch and shoot. Did you see Holiday doing it and how helpful it was? To just rise
Yep.
up sometimes when you get an open shot, like in the mid range. Like when we operate in that sweet spot in the mid range, it's so nice. Like we really can score at such a high level in there. But they just fall in love with this perimeter, drive and dish and make the extra pass and do an up fake and then take a sidestep and then shoot. And if you can get into that rhythm, it's great. And you can obviously score at high volumes, but we need to be able to make the adjustment, and Tatum has to lead that charge.
Yep.
But I do want to transition into Brown. But yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? I wanted to talk to you about this, and I made a point to just stare at it all fucking game last night. Does their lack of off the ball screens on offense piss you off?
I think because every team seems to be allowed to set moving screens now. Like, they're just not really calling them. I think it would really behoove us to set some. Yeah. But I think that they're very, like, contact conscious. They're really trying to be a finesse team. They're always trying to be a finesse team under Joe Mazzulla. And I think these players, and I include Jaylen Brown in this, I think these players are like, yeah, obviously if we're just like a finesse team, it's just like so much better because we're not getting like pounded and fucking tired and like hurt. But Ime, I mean, I really lament that guy's firing because we used to set high screens off the dribble when he was there. We used to fight around. Well, actually, we're fighting around screens a lot better defensively. This season. I will say that. I don't want to take that.
I mean, primarily on offense. Because what I noticed is I always go back to every big shot that I remember Ray Allen hitting in the playoffs, or his entire time here.
It was around the screen. Because Kevin Garnett set a borderline illegal screen every single time on the outlook. Yeah. Oh, I was there. I remember. Kevin Garnett could be like, hi. And like whoever ran into him would just be like, oh, fuck. Like he would just get there because he could just slide that distance too, And they ran that play like mercilessly, that team, where Pierce would just run it off the ISO and he would come in and he would either like get his guy. And if he didn't have as much space off his dribble move, he would be like, oh, Ray's open in the corner. And I don't know if you guys remember, but Ray Allen alone in a corner, it was one of the most dangerous men on planet Earth at a given time. He was an absolute fucking sniper. So I don't know if we have a guy like that, but like, man, we have so many good shooters. Like you would think, I agree with you. You would think we would just be like, yo, can somebody just like fucking set me a pick? Like off the ball. And a pick not involving anyone on the ball. Just guys moving around. Just move around, guys. It's really not that hard. But there's a lot of like, I'll watch you for a few seconds while you do something. Then you watch me. Also, Tatum's back in this fucking habit. He's sister act fucking 2. He's back in this habit of waiting until 7 seconds are on the shot clock before he starts to make a move. And I'm like, bro, like, what is that? Like universally, we agreed on 9. And like, they obviously make a difference. And there's a serious problem with the ability to not to count to 10 in your head on this team. There's a real problem with not being able to count to 10 in your head. It's really like, there would be a day if I was Joe Mazzulla, he'd have a better fashion sense, first of all. But second of all, there'd be a day where I would just be like, all right, everybody close your eyes. We're going to count to 10 for an hour. And everybody would just do it for an hour. And then for the rest of the time we were at practice, we would take free throws and then we would go home. And then the next day we would do the same exact fucking thing. And then I think they'd get it. The counting to 10 thing and the fucking hitting the free throws thing. And then here we are. Now we're actually doing it. But speaking of missing free throws, Jaylen Brown was our most important player yesterday. I think we all sort of agreed with that. His role players that stepped up were the Drew Holidays of the world because I think we were waiting for a game like Ray said, I think specifically, shout out Ray, that we were waiting for a Drew Holiday game like that. I think we can agree on that. I was not with the Celtics fans that were anti-Drew Holiday in the regular season because they were just looking at his box score. But he's doing a lot less off the ball in the playoffs so far than he normally does, and it has been annoying. He finally kind of woke up and arrived yesterday, so we'll come on to talk about him. But a lot of it yesterday was Jaylen just getting it going. He really was just having a vintage Jaylen Brown game. He was hitting the shots he needed to hit. He was driving in. He was making good decisions when Tatum wasn't. And yeah, they both got their points. Like, that's not the point of this conversation. Like, it would be a very short podcast if it was like Jayson Tatum had 35 points and 9 rebounds. It's like,
but I think it's about how you get the points.
It's about how you get the points. And I think I really enjoyed, that's exactly my point, Mike. Thank you for being able to read my mind at this point in our podcasting lives. Jaylen Brown's points, I liked all of them. Almost every single one that went through the hoop. I was like, yes, that's how we should be scoring. Yes, that's what I want this to look like. Yes, that was a smart shot. This team often has too many Yeah, it went in, but I was like, no, right before it went in. Sometimes it does. Like I'm often have pie in my face when I'm watching a basketball game. And I go like, not that fucking shot, and then it goes in, but I'm still right. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
still a bad shot. A bad shot's a bad shot, whether you get the points or not. In my opinion, Jaylen Brown didn't have a lot of those. Really good decision making yesterday. What did you think of his game?
Yeah, I thought that his efficiency was the thing that stood out to me the most, right? Is that and I'll talk about the shots I really love, but the fact that he went 9 of 15, but what 27 points
Mhm.
in 34 minutes. That was super efficient. It's almost like he tried to control the game without putting up the most shots. And I know I talked about I don't want to see Tatum's fadeaways anymore, but you give me Jaylen Brown's mid-range turnaround fadeaway
I
every
love that
fucking
shot.
time, like
I
injected
love
into
that.
my veins. Because he hits,
He's
I mean, good.
Yeah, he's just playing super consistently as well. I mean, even the game on the ninth against the Cavs, the game we lost, 0 for 6 from 3, sure. Not great. We don't love that. Then he goes on to go 2 for 3 and 2 for 3 twice in a row. 9 rebounds, 8 rebounds. 28 points, 27 points. In even less minutes, like you just pointed out. So an even higher efficiency game on the second one. These are the Jaylen Brown games we need. These are the Jaylen Brown games we need. 0 for 6 from 3. No Celtic should be posting that stat line. And I include Tatum in that. It's like, that was what happened in both game twos that we lost. It's like, oh, it's not going down from 3. Okay. I think we should go for plan B. What's plan B, coach? Panic. Panic and don't do anything to amend the game plan or whatever. Just everyone freak out. Everyone freak out. Shoot on the wrong net. Don't put your shorts on before you go on the court. Just look just absolutely bamboozled, like you've never gone through a cold streak in your entire
They
lives.
they do that really well, by the way. They freak the fuck out really
They
well.
absolutely do. It's why I don't want to
Like
play the Nuggets.
I thought, and also like I think he had what 4 or 5 turnovers, and I wanted to make sure I bring this up because those 5 turnovers in last night's game, they just felt so much better than every turnover he had in that series against the Warriors. You know, like
Yeah.
it felt like that
The
they
one that
just
got
weren't
him
as
made fun of for
egregious
like the rest of his career.
by me. Yeah, exactly.
By everybody. But yeah, but yeah.
I can only speak for me. I started calling him Stanley.
Yeah.
But I love his mid-range game. I love the way in which he attacks the hoop. And I just, you know, Cleveland's going on what a 13-2 run in the fourth quarter. And who hits that three? It's Jaylen.
Yeah. He is a good why don't you all shut the fuck up guy too. I really like
Yep.
that about this game. Like he's a really good like, oh, you know what you guys can do actually is you can shut the fuck up. Watch this. He really is a good responder. He's a good counter puncher.
Yep.
Which I would lean into a little bit more. Like I think that's we inevitably are going to talk about Joe Mazzulla, and I've been trying to hold off on the guy honestly for the this run so far, but he's pissing me off again. Like he's officially pissing me off again because he still doesn't call timeouts at the right time. Blah blah blah. We all know all that shit. Like it's bad. But I think at this point in the Celtics, we should be reading them like a novel. You know, we should be looking at them like there's depth to the characters. There's things we should be leaning into. Like when you hear stories about like Pat Riley coaching the Lakers and like he had an interesting he made an interesting point to Magic Johnson about how he facilitates on the floor and made Magic look at the game in a little bit more of a three-dimensional way. And Magic then credits him for changing his perspective on things. We need those things to be happening to the Celtics right now. Not like, yeah, I mean, we ran the play where we saw they were in a zone, so we decided we were going to just try to slash through the zone and like drag players out. It's like, no, we all know all that stuff already. These are very proficient, very, very intelligent basketball players. We now need men to meet the moment.
Right. Right.
And that's going to be why we come up short if there's a reason at all, because we know we have all the talent in the world. And I don't know if Joe Mazzulla is going to meet the moment, because if he doesn't, then the team won't. And I think
100%.
Ime Udoka was a man who met every moment, even ones he wasn't invited to. And I think, but I think that really benefited our team because I just don't think he was afraid. I don't think that Ime Udoka was afraid of anything. And I think the great coaches that I've seen in my lifetime, I mean, I'm coming up to a very maudlin summer because the guy who's been the coach of Liverpool Football Club for the past decade-ish is leaving. And it's very heartbreaking for me. But he was amazing and he accomplished so much for this team, and it was because he was fearless. It's a coaching quality that I see shared throughout every great coach I've ever seen. They take the responsibility when the team's not doing well, and they give the credit when it is. Their ego exists, but it exists sort of in the right directions, and they're not afraid. They're not afraid to lose, because you have to be not afraid to lose if you wanna really win some shit. You have to go
Yeah.
out there and you have to, like, be the man in the arena, and I know these all sound like platitudes, but I think this is what sports is all about, and watching your team achieve these moments of greatness is why we are all in this business and why we watch them lose season in, season out, just for that one little sniff of something like greatness, right?
Yeah.
And we're here. All the parts are assembled. The Avengers have been assembled. There's no excuses anymore, and I just think Ime Udoka was fucking fearless, I guess is my point. And I'm worried that Joe Mazzulla is a little afraid. And I
But
can tell he is 'cause
I don't
am.
get that from him.
No? You didn't think last year he was, like, chewing the inside of his fucking cheeks off like a psychopath? Because it was
I
just,
think,
it's anxiety ridden, I think.
yeah, but I think I actually think Joe doesn't fear losing. I don't think he's
You're like,
afraid
I
of
wish
any
he'd
of
be
that.
more afraid of losing, to be honest with you.
Yes, I do, because I think that he thinks of every game as an experience, right, that we can learn from, and that's the thing that pisses me off most
But
about
you
him.
hate
Is
him
that,
because he's a stupid hippie.
well, I didn't say that, but
I get it.
I hate when he's like, "Well, we just, hey Joe, why did you just lose game 7 by 30 points? Well, we got to play with more intentionality." Fuck that. Tell me what you learned from this game and why you think it will never happen again based on things that you're going to do. Right?
Well,
Like,
he's just gonna say the same shit. Oh, we really forgot last game that we have to sort of lead with our defense, and our defense unlocks everything else. It's like, really? Because you seem to be forgetting that once every 3 games. Just play defense every time. You have to. It's your job. Like, I don't understand. It's like what you're paid to do.
I just think he's like, his mantra is like, just be an elephant, man. Like, just forget everything bad. Don't hold on to it. And then, or be a
No, that's a
goldfish, right?
goldfish.
Yeah,
That's a
sorry.
goldfish. Elephants fucking remember everything. This is
Everything.
probably his problem. He probably is like, forget everything. Be an elephant. God damn it, I can't forget anything.
My bad. Be a goldfish, Joe. But I feel like every game that he loses, like, they talk about it, you gotta be more intentional, gotta have respect, gotta, be communicative. And then like 5 games fucking later, it's the same thing to your point, and it's the same goddamn answers. I don't think he fears losing. I just don't know if he incorporates enough changes throughout the course of the game to win a situation where he is constantly lost. Do you know what I mean? Like, we always see, like, you and I can actually, I need Celtics fan can tell. In the third quarter, when the Celtics are up by 4, you can just tell when we're going to lose a game. You just know it. Like, the air gets sucked out of the room. And if we know it,
because they've decided that we're going to lose. Right. The team is like, oh fuck,
Yeah, and like, if we can identify that, you'd love to think that so could he. And time in and time out, he doesn't do anything to change it. Nothing.
I see what you did there with the timeout.
Yeah. I was just for you.
Timeout, Joe. Did you like my meet the moment speech?
Yeah.
Do you think that? I think that that's what we're all really deeply afraid of. Is that we have all the pieces, but we don't have, like, the soul.
I don't want to go down this road. This is going to open up a whole nother podcast, but I just don't know if Tatum's the piece. Yeah. But I really want him to be.
I'm so worried.
I want
so
him.
mad.
I want him to want to be the piece, right? Not assume that he is, but want to be it.
It's just like, I'm gonna be so fed up if they lose this. I'm gonna be so fucking fed up, dude. That Jaylen Brown contract, the Jrue Holiday contract's not gonna age well.
Porzingis contract.
Porzingis contract, like, what? I don't love it. I don't love it. I really don't. I should have traded Tatum when I said like 4 years ago.
You told Abby to do it.
Yeah. Well, look at us now. We're winning a series in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, and we're all really upset about it. Apparently, like, we're all miserable because it's like Tatum comes out in that post game press. He's like, "Oh yeah, I guess we're supposed to win every game." It's like, yeah, against these teams, yeah, because when you don't, it makes us worried that you're soft in the middle. Like, that's just because you have been before. That's why. And I hope that, like, because you know the way when the Warriors just sort of snatched their soul, like they just like were like, let's look each other in the eye for a second and see who blinks first. And the Celtics just blinked so hard, like immediately. That's how they won that series. Like you remember, it was devastating.
Yep.
They were like, let's just go right here. And the Celtics could have been like, no, we don't need to go right here. We're just gonna fucking score way more baskets than you. We're so much more athletic. We can like run around. Like, you're crazy. I'm not gonna do that with you. Why would we fight your fight? Like you said, let's play their game. But they didn't do that. They just crumpled. They got their head shrunk, and that was it. And I'm just worried. I think we all should be. Let's take some positives though. I think all of our role players played really well. I'm kind of coming around on Peyton Pritchard a little bit. Although I think that there's another world where like we're a few games into like the New York series and like he just gets cooked 4 times and I'm like, don't ever put him on the court again.
I mean, I never
could
thought I'd see the day that you'd be like, maybe we should have Cornette on the court more than Al Horford.
Okay, but shouldn't we obviously like isn't Al Horford's I mean, it's not an ideal situation. I'm not saying like this is the greatest situation in the world, but Cornette's Al Horford's minutes are far more meaningful when he's rested. Like he just
Yep.
needs to not play that many minutes because he becomes an obvious liability when he's overexerted, and that's not his fault. I'm not shitting on Al Horford. I love Al Horford. I'm not like, don't come for me, Celtics Twitter. I'm shitting on Joe Mazzulla. Like, don't play him that many minutes. And honestly, Cornette against the Cavs, it's fine. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just accept the reality of the situation here. It's like, all right, Porzingis is hurt, but it's fine. We're playing the Cavs. Just play Cornette like 17 minutes going into the fourth, as opposed to Al at 9 or 10 going into the fourth. And then Al can play 10 minutes, and then you're good. You're fine, or like you don't have to have everybody on the same rotation plan. Well, he's a starter, so he's going to play these four. Shit doesn't matter. Just get him in there situationally when you fucking need him, dude. It's not that hard. I would run a 1 through 5 with Pritchard at the 1 and Tatum at the 5 at times against the Cavs. No problem. No problem. I'd be like, everybody just space the floor. Just run him. Just run him for a little bit. Donovan Mitchell's not out there. Let's go 1 through 5. Tatum at the 5. Pritchard at the 1. And let's just see what they do.
Yep.
He never throws looks at things, Mazzulla. He never throws looks. My favorite moment, there was this, it's just the stupidest fucking moment. It just summed the Celtics team up so much. The commentator, I forget who was commentating on the game, goes like, Pritchard on the ball. All right, last play of this quarter. I think it was the end of the first.
Yep.
And he's like, looks over to the bench, gets the play call from Mazzulla, and gets the play call from Mazzulla, and then Peyton Pritchard proceeds to just shoot from the logo and make it. Don't get me wrong, and make it. But I'm like, I'm sorry. Was the play from Mazzulla XI86-1? Oh, nice. Shoots from the logo. Like, that's not in the playbook, surely. Like, there's just no way, right? Gets the play from Mazzulla. Joe's like, suck your own dick on the court. Like, what? It's the stupidest shit that I've ever. It's like the fact that the commentator said it too. I was like, did that happen? Was the commentator wrong, or is Joe Mazzulla just like? And then he just shoots from the fucking logo. I'm like, get out of here with this. Gets the play.
Yeah,
I'd be so fucking surprised if that was the play call. Is what I'm saying. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, that just didn't age well at all for Mazzulla, because I actually watched that clip like right before we started recording. It was like, Pritchard, there's 10 seconds left, looks over the bench, gets a call from Mazzulla, and like, what did Mazzulla do? Just go. And so
are we supposed to be playing a basketball game?
dribble the ball a little bit, then step back 3 from the fucking half court, and he hit it.
Oh, he gave me the dribble the ball a little bit, then step back 3 from the half court signal. Oh, nice play call, coach. Yeah. If only you could just be like, drain it from there, like, and it worked every time. Wow, that's an unstoppable play you've drawn up, Coach Mazzulla.
It's almost worse that it went in, because now, like, if he did wave off a call from Mazzulla, he's like, no, I did this before. Fucking nailed it. I'll do it again. It's like,
I know. He definitely.
And I want to know what the play was. I want to know what it was.
He had to have waved it off. He had to have. And like, that's if Peyton Pritchard's like, shut up, Joe. We're in a bad place, dude. I'd wave off all those fucking.
I just want to point out that this last like 2-minute segment happened right after you said, now onto some positives.
No, what I meant to say was it makes me feel better to shit on Joe Mazzulla than it makes me feel to shit on any of the players, because the players are on way bigger contracts. We can just fire Joe Mazzulla. It's like really not that big of a deal. Probably should have done it last year, to be honest. I really want to
I
know what
just
he did.
You mean who?
Yeah, I want to know who Ime did. And
Yeah.
honestly, like, who doesn't love the Celtics enough to have just taken one for the team within that organization? You know, who doesn't love the team enough to have just taken one for the team? Be like, I know you fucked my wife, but like, man, they're playing some sound defense out there. So let's just let Ime stay. You know, come
Yeah.
on, man, be a team player.
Maybe Nia Long. Maybe she probably had the biggest problem. Yeah.
She doesn't work for the fucking Celtics. I don't give a shit what she does. She's
She
getting
was
she's getting her money.
just his wife or partner. So maybe she
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
sounded the alarms.
That ain't none of my business. Okay, just get him out there. Just get him out there to coach the team. Who cares? All right.
I do think that Missoula has improved in some areas, but in the
Oh, of
big
course,
areas
because
that
the only
we
place, the only place to go is up. So I agree wholeheartedly that he's improved in some areas.
great.
The
Okay.
fact that
On
he's
to the
not
next.
just sitting on the sideline playing with his own poop is a fucking miracle. Honestly, just give him some blocks to play with somewhere else, far away from the TD Garden. If he can find his way out, I would
We're gonna be
honestly.
in trouble next year with Charles Lee leaving and probably Sam Cassell going to coach LeBron.
Yeah, awesome. I can't believe Joe Mazzulla can find where he parked his car in the morning. That's a huge positive for me. Derek White went fucking missing, so I'm just gonna not move on to him because that's not very positive. Is Porzingis coming back ever?
I don't think you need him this series, right?
No, but like, what's the timeline? I'm gonna look it up. I'm kind of. I think
It was supposed to be 2 to 3 weeks.
yeah, but we don't want him to come back too soon.
No.
Like, obviously.
Theoretic. Well, but here's the thing. You you're going to need a rested and healthy-ish Horford to compete with anyone that comes out of the West. So, like, and you're going to need to Porzingis to get some actual game reps in. So, if we could shoot for like game 3 of the next round, if we got
Limited minutes. If we were in a great spot where we were up 3-0, we were cruising to a 3-0 Eastern Conference Finals, and because this team is not like, I think this is one of the more obvious like go in hot or go in rested teams. Like go in rested is the choice for this Celtics team every single time. It's like just cool them down. We'll get it going again. Like we don't need them on big hot runs. Nobody needs to be playing a lot of minutes. Like Tom Thibodeau would break this team in one day. like, I feel like Jason Tatum would be like, I'm not coming to work tomorrow, Tibbs. Just so you know, I'm taking the fucking day off because this is too much. Can you tell I think they're soft? What would you say is your biggest positive other than Jaylen Brown from yesterday's game, and why was it Drew Holiday?
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking Drew Holiday. Everything he did in the stats, but then also like what you said that won't show up in the stat line, in the stat line, like his off the ball defense and playmaking ability was the reason why like we all were like, holy shit, we got him in the offseason. I think we're still in line for like to have a Drew Holiday game where he.
That kind of was the Drew Holiday game, don't you think? I mean, I know that Jaylen Brown eventually took over, but I feel like he really did set the tone, and I really appreciate that from him. He set the tone really early, and I think it was like I kind of think the Cavs they stuck around and everything, but like he was a big part of the reason why we didn't let it slip like we normally would. Like because I just think he was just like more vocal than usual. He was playmaking, like you said, he was playing really hard defense. Like he was just doing everything that his teammates needed him to do. So like you said, he wasn't going to show up necessarily huge on the box score, but his box score looks efficient as fuck. I'll say that.
Yep.
The efficiency from Drew Holiday has always been what I liked about him. He takes smart shots, he makes smart calls, and we needed him to step up. We clearly needed him to step up because we needed to win these games because it's really embarrassing when we lose to teams without their best player. So that's the main reason. I don't think the series would have been dead or anything, but I would have been so pissed. I'm already pissed and we won.
Right.
Every Celtics fan I know is mad at them, and we're winning on most of our games.
Team's 7-2, and we're all because we just see it. We see it. They refuse to admit it. Like to your point, they are just softer than baby shit. They just can't do it, but they might.
I want to be shut up by them. I want to come on here and be like, everything we said was wrong. Of course it was wrong. Look how good they are. But that's not going to happen until the finals. Like, I'm gonna spend the whole fucking Eastern Conference playoffs being like, yeah, well, they should have won that fucking game, but they didn't do it the way I like it.
Right. Yep.
All right. Well, thankfully, it's not really my problem anymore, Mike, because I am a Minnesota Timberwolves fan. So, for myself, DK Sizzle, and the always bright, always positive Mike Marcangelo, we got to get me, you, and Ray on one because honestly, me and you are just absolutely bucolic. Like, we're both just like so fed up with this fucking team that like we need Ray of Sunshine, like to just come in and be like, come on, guys, which is definitely a flip from how it used to be. So,
Right.
I was wrong before when I was really positive about them. So I'm hoping I'm wrong now as I'm really negative about them. And it's not just that the veil has been lifted from my eyes and I see the world as it is now. I'm a cynical old man. I was an optimistic young man before, but this team has aged me, Michael. So for myself, DK Sizzle, for Mike Marcangelo, thank you so much for potting it up with me about our Boston Celtics. We'll see you after Game 5.
Welcome to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing, where we harmonise your mind, body and soul. I'm Amanda, your sound therapy expert.
And I'm Stephen, the curious explorer uncovering the mysteries of sound.
Together we explore vibrations, frequencies and the power of sound therapy and tuning forks.
Discover ancient wisdom, reduce stress and tune into a healthier life. Subscribe to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing today.
Electricast.